Just gonna see if this picks up. Can you imagine if card games were this hectic?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no.
What can I say? It's time to duel. Thanks, Yugi.
Time to duel. Alright. Take 10 steps, turn around, and shoot each other. That's what we're talking about, right?
No, not that kind of duel. No.
You're no fun anymore.
We're talking about card games.
Oh.
Figured that'd intrigue you. So, with that little thing in the background going off, thank you, voice of Dan Green, voice of Yu-Gi-Oh! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the General Geekery Podcast. This is the podcast where we geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse, no regrets, and with all of the enthusiasm in the world.
Indeed.
As always, I am Donald Kaczynski, your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, and streamer by night. And joining me, as always, she is the dice slinger extraordinaire, artiste magnificent, Hannah Kubiak.
Hi.
And we got a fun episode for you today. Actually a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, because I was actually involved with a certain one for a very big period of my life. I wanted to talk about card games, like trading card games, collectible card games, things like that. Have a very large history. Well, a recent large history, but it kind of dates back before like it started getting like popular. For those that grew up pre-1990s, there were really no like trading card games like available. You had like the baseball cards.
Yeah.
But those were like you couldn't, as far as I know, you couldn't play a game with them. Could you?
I don't know.
Not in any of the research that I found could you actually play a card game.
I feel like you could like. It was kind of like newspaper or football or whatever. You know, you make those. It was something like.
Yeah.
Like you would. Gosh, I don't know. It was something like that. It wasn't. It was like. You would try and, like, flick the card to some point. And it was, like, almost like horseshoes, but I don't know why that's in my brain, about that being done.
Yeah, there was, like, more, like, collecting kind of things. Like,
yeah, it was more like stamp collection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was more like you would just use them to collect. Like, it wouldn't be like, excuse me. It wouldn't be like, how card games would be in the future at that point, because all things like that. In the 70s and the 80s, like, it was more like tabletop stuff, because that's when, like, when Dungeons & Dragons really started getting, like, its early grassroots.
Yeah.
And come the late 80s, early 90s, that stuff was really starting to take off, because a generation had grown up doing those kinds of things. RPGs were huge at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And there was no like card variant of it until 1993 with the release of Magic the Gathering.
Oh wow, that was the first?
That is the granddaddy of them all. That started the TCG craze.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was a lot of weirdly great stuff to come out of the 90s. Trading card games was one of them.
Nice. Yeah.
So, Magic the Gathering was one of the granddaddies of them all. The publishers for Magic the Gathering, I have them right there, Wizards of the Coast, they had originally tried to break into, like, the tabletop RPG market, like, similar to, like, Dungeons & Dragons and things like that.
Yeah.
But did not have any success. It was when they developed Magic the Gathering that they really hit their market. It was described at the time as a new kind of card game. Hold on, I have the history of card games right here. Thank you, Wikipedia, our favorite thing. Okay, here it is. The first TCG, Magic the Gathering, was developed by Richard Garfield and published by Wizards of the Coast in 1993, and its initial runs rapidly sold out that year. By the end of 1994, Magic the Gathering had sold over 1 billion cards.
Oh.
Just by the end of its second year.
That was like shocked owl noise.
And during its most popular years of play, between 2008 and 2016, had sold over 20 billion.
Holy cards, individual cards.
Oh, individual cards can.
That's ridiculous.
Did you know, like, some of the highest rated, like, cards that you can get actually have costs of upwards of over $1,000?
I believe it.
Because of, like, limited prints and things like that.
Crazy.
So, yeah, Magic the Gathering was, like, one of the OGs that started them all. And especially in our city, there is a huge community of Magic the Gathering players.
Right.
Like, at my local college, like, there would be so many people playing it. I would always hang out at the 8th Note coffee shop, and there would just be a dedicated group of people, like, even people coming in and out, like regulars and non-regulars, that would play Magic the Gathering, or MTG for short, as people called it. And it actually, it's by today, 2021, at time of recording, it is around 28 years old now. It is an almost 30-year-old card game.
Yeah. And
it is still so popular.
Yeah.
I cannot go into a comic book store and not see them sell some individual cards for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Ooh.
Have you seen people play Magic, or have you even tried to?
I have played it. I am not very good at it. I don't understand it. I tried to play it a couple of times. My D&D group, the Sunday one, were playing it one time, and I tried to get into it. I couldn't. Well, I had never played it, and they were all way too good. Yeah.
See,
and then our friend Andrew Kelly tried to teach me, and I couldn't figure it out.
Magic the Gathering is really hard.
Yeah,
like
it's got a steep learning curve. It seems like, because I think I understood it, and then all of a sudden there was some new mechanic that I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's with the introduction of like new mechanics where like you gain more players or lose more players when it comes to different formats for Magic the Gathering. Hold on, I want to see something. How many Magic the Gathering players? Let me see.
Every day I'm buffering.
Every day I'm buffering. Every day. Yeah. So there is upwards of like 20 million plus. That might be less so than that. These numbers were taken during like Magic the Gatherings, like during the midst of like their popular period back in like the 2010s. And there's still a large number of people that play it, but of course, like the current pandemic has made like meeting up to play card games like very inaccessible at the moment.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a group in my high school that played it, including my science teacher, who got everyone hooked on it. I played for a little bit, but it was not a game that I was competitive with.
Yeah.
There was a different card game that I was competitive with. And because of that intro earlier, I should probably talk about it. What many people consider possibly the second most popular or most highest selling trading card game today, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.
I have played this game too, but I do not remember anything about it.
So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is probably the second highest selling game in the trading card game genre, alongside Magic the Gathering. Let me see if I can see results here. Hold on. Generally, what? No. Stop going backwards, my information. I had all my information neatly gathered. and now it's just all over the
But
place.
was it Magic the Gathered?
Okay, here it is. Other successful TCGs, including Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is estimated to have sold about 35 billion cards
Ah!
as of January 2021.
What?
The game was first introduced in 1999 in Japan. America wouldn't see a release of it until about 2001, 2002-ish?
Yeah.
With the release of the anime on Saturday morning cartoons like Kids WB and stuff like that.
Yep.
Which is how I first saw it.
Me too, actually.
Yep. And then even before that, Pokemon had a trading card game as well. I collected Pokemon cards for a time, but it was Yu-Gi-Oh! That I really started playing competitively with card games from about 2004 till like my second or third year of college in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had about a 10 to 12 year run, in the game.
Nice.
Like I had stayed competitive. I didn't really top any top tier national stuff, but it was a lot of fun. I was just really engrossed in the game. It became a huge hobby of mine. Hannah has seen my numerous amount of tins that I had at the old house. They're in storage right now,
right?
because we don't have any room at the new place.
Yeah.
But I bought so many cards. So many cards. I was in the game. I loved playing it.
Huh.
I had so many friends.
Deep in the Matrix.
Indeed, I made so many friends playing the game. Like I would go to different card shops around the city, even outside. I went to one of the major Yu-Gi-Oh card shops in Wisconsin, which is over in Butler. I would always go to them, and then they started doing their own regional kind of tournaments, and I always attended them. And it was really from 2008 to 2014. It was when I was really trying to compete.
Really,
I was really trying to compete.
So, let me see. So, I know I'm more familiar with other kind of card games. But is there a core set sort of thing? Can you buy a pack, or do you buy individual cards? Because I don't even remember that.
So, okay, so from my experience with Yu-Gi-Oh, you would, to start off your initial deck or something like that, you would get something like a starter deck kind of stuff that they would sell based on certain characters or a certain theme.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And you could build you could have a deck right there around that. To customize that deck, you could buy booster packs, and that they had a set card list of what cards were in that pack, and then you would open them up, and then some cards would be harder to get, so you would have to buy maybe an entire box of it to even possibly get the chance of getting that card.
Yeah, because I'm familiar with booster packs, that you get those and there's just a handful in there and you don't know which they are, and it's like oh my gosh, and I found coincidentally.
Yeah, and it's not and unless you had the list of cards that were confirmed to be in there, it's not like you could. In the early days, it's not like you could Google them and just know all of it that's in there. Nowadays, they release the card lists ahead of time, so you know what a certain card does, what to look for, how certain things can impact the game because of how the game has evolved. But if you're just starting off and you just want to play with your friends or chill out at locals and things like that, you can just simply get a starter deck and build up with cards that you get on the fly, see what synergizes. You can always interact with friends to help out.
Yeah.
If you get certain stuff that you don't need but a certain friends need, you can trade for stuff that you want.
Yeah.
And you can build a community around that. And when you get a community like that, it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun. Sometimes it can be a headache, but it's a lot of fun.
So, are trading card games and living card games the same thing?
Repeat that one more time.
Trading card games and then living card games.
Living card games?
Card games. It's like Legend of the Five Rings, for example.
Oh,
is it kind of like that?
I don't actually know. I've never played Legend of the Five Rings. How is the mechanics on that?
So for Legend of the Five Rings, it's got you get like a core box.
Okay.
And it has all of the what they call the core set of various cards and stuff, and you can play you have a complete core set when you have 3 core sets, which basically means you have 3 of each card, and there's different clans. Legend of the Five Rings, it's kind of based on feudal Japan and everything. So you have the Crane clan and the Scorpion clan and the Dragon clan and all that. And so each clan kind of has its own sort of set of cards that you can choose from to build a deck, and you can put in the neutral cards as well. So there's this just normal ass katana thing that's you can use in any deck or whatever, but you have to play as one clan, and you can splash a couple of cards from another clan into there in other sort of iterations. But you start with that, and then you get there's expansions and booster packs and everything that you build your own deck basically.
Yeah, I would probably say not like that, because from the way you're saying it, you get a bigger box with more stuff like that. Games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, generally, you don't do stuff like that unless you're building a specific core box and things like that for certain kinds of play that you and your friends do for custom rules. But generally, no, that's not how. That is a different kind of format,
right?
Which is to its detriment and also to its advantage. And sometimes, there's a lot of positives and negatives of different card games and things like that. Especially the older ones like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. For people that have followed it for a long time, you get used to some of the new mechanics and things like that. Sometimes it drops off, sometimes you stay on. But people have made a living with these card games.
Yeah.
They make them their life. I was never able to do that. It was mainly still just a hobby for me, but as I was progressing through college, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. I had other stuff to do. But also on that trade-off, for being so deep into a card game's lifespan and so many different forms of power creep, essentially older cards are not as strong as newer ones, so they force you to do the newer ones, and only certain older ones can be power creep can essentially really hurt a game at times, and it has done it several times in both Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh's Lifespan, and even other card games as well. I know that sort of I'm not as familiar with Magic the Gathering and all that, but Legend of the Five Rings, there's this game called Star Wars Destiny that has cards, and it also has a dice mechanic as well. Right, you have mentioned that.
I have mentioned that. Yeah, it's my mom's favorite game. She goes to tournaments and places top 8 in them and stuff. It's ridiculous. I'm like, Mom, why are you so cool? But in those kind of things, there's certain cards that come out where you kind of wonder, what were they thinking? It breaks the game. There's some card called Vader's Fist in Star Wars Destiny that is just kind of we just wish that card was gone because it's so broken.
Oh yeah, you know exactly how I feel on that. That's why certain card games have ban lists and things like that.
Yeah, stuff that's banned or stuff that's
those are holiday days or judgment days for certain card players. Especially, I remember. Oh man, I remember for a certain amount of time between 2010 to 2012, certain top tier decks were made or broken by the card lists, by the ban lists in Yu-Gi-Oh! At the time. Because there would be one in a certain format would be at last, none can touch me. And then also the next ban list, I'd be like, why? That is, you ban only one card that I need to revolve around my deck with? My deck is useless. Yeah. I spent hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on these cardboard cards to make this work. Yep. That is fact. People spend an enormous amount of money on card games. I think card games might be one of the more expensive hobbies.
Yes, absolutely.
I think to an extent, it can probably be even more expensive than D&D.
Yeah, actually it can. Because, yeah, you don't need that much for D&D, honestly.
Like, the only reason why you would spend an enormous amount of money in D&D is you want to just style it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you don't need a lot.
Yeah, you just use it to make things look nice.
Yeah, I literally just used, like, sheets of A4 to draw a map on and put, like... And used like nickels and dimes as characters on a piece of paper. Like, it's just, you don't need much for that. But yeah, for a card game, you do need the actual card for it to be legit, basically.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's wildly expensive.
Oh, I bet.
More expensive than crack cocaine. What are you doing?
I'm trying to bring up something because I need to see. There is a certain kind of card game that exists. That is. All right, there we go. Okay, got it. I just needed to see like the viewer numbers on that on Twitch because there is a certain card game that gets a lot of viewers on Twitch aside from like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh. And it is a free to play virtual card game.
Ooh, okay.
Have you heard of Hearthstone?
Yes, sounds familiar.
Okay, so Hearthstone is a digital card game that was produced by Blizzard Entertainment.
Blizzard, right? Okay, that's why I've heard of it.
For those not familiar,
I have done some job hunting on.
So for those not familiar with Blizzard Entertainment, they are the developers of World of Warcraft. Mm-hmm. So
yes.
They originally released this game back in 2014, and it's cross-platform, meaning you can play it across a variety of different platforms and play against people on other platforms as well, which is pretty great. Again, it's a turn-based, basically destroying another person's heroes, and it has in-game like expansion packs and things like that. And it is probably one of the most popular card games out there right now, even though it is digital. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and
that.
Like I said, there are some people that make their living by playing like certain kinds of card games. Hearthstone is like one of the I don't know if I would put it in like top 5 territory of like card games at the moment, but definitely top 10.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
I know there are going to be some that are going to dispute that claim.
Yeah.
But again, it is opinion based.
Yeah. Cool.
But I still stand by that Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! I think are the top 2.
Yeah.
Just based on like longevity, because Magic the Gathering has been going for nearly 30 years. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been going for a little over 20.
Yeah.
And like they still have people coming in to like join in and play. Some people fall off just because of like how daunting it can be sometimes. I remember I wanted to try to get back into the game like 2018, like when I finally had like some stabilization in my life after graduating from college and getting a job. And then I saw like how the game had changed. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to come back in.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's tougher being a returning player to a card game competitively than it is for a person just starting off. Because with a person just starting off, you can take your time to like relearn, like to learn new mechanics and things like that, how everything works.
Yeah.
When it comes to returning players, you literally have to like learn all these new mechanics that can essentially change the way, like how you like to play the game. Because that's the thing with like some card games, like they offer like a variety of different kinds of play styles. You can play a more control based on how your enemy does certain things. You can be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
You can just be a little more defensive. Conserve and release at a moment's notice. You can do ridiculous combos that normally would not be able to work in a normal sense, but you just want to have fun with it anyway.
Yeah. I would say I'm definitely one of those like have fun kind of players of any kind of game, really. Like, I just, as, oh gosh, what is his name? The, Patrick Rothfuss, there's this game that they play in this book by him where they're like, where it's like, it was a beautiful game. You know, like, I like it when it's a beautiful game. Like, when it was tons of fun, and I don't even care if I won or lost or whatever. Like, I've been to, like, tournaments at places where people, they'll, like, sit down and they'll play against you and stuff, and they won't even they'll assume that you know what the text on every single card is. So they'll be like, all right, I'll just use this and do this. And I'm like, wait, why? Like, what does that card do?
Yeah.
And they say, it's this. I'm like, what does that mean?
See,
like,
that's also another thing when it comes to, like, inclusivity, of, like, certain different, like, communities and things like that. Like, like, people that are just so immersed in them are just gonna be like, okay, everybody's gonna know this and this and this about this kind of meta in it.
I'm just kind of like,
it can be a little toxic at times. I've definitely come across, like, things like that.
Yeah.
Especially when I was trying to, like, still figure out everything. And sometimes people don't always know everything. So it's honestly up to, like, the community in order to be more inclusive like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like my mom and my sister and I will go to tournaments for things like this, and we'll literally comprise, like, 75% of the women there is us. We're, like, just, like sticking out like sore thumbs here when we show up. It's just, like...
It's weird how that stereotype works.
It is weird, isn't it?
It's so dumb.
Like we finished one of these tournaments or whatever, we went, and my mom's like, oh yeah, how'd you do today? And I'm like, I did all right. I mean, it was a pretty fun game with whichever one I forget what his name is. And she's like, which describe him? And I'm like, the one with the beard. And she's like, you have to be way more specific than that. I'm like, okay, the one with the beard and the Star Wars t-shirt. And she's like, there's like 15 people that fit that description there. And I'm like, okay, trying to think of something. I'm like,
communities, I tell you.
Like, he was maybe a little bit bigger than most of the guys. And she's like, oh yeah, Darius. I'm like, okay.
That is so weird.
I know. It's so hard to, like, it's hard to break into that kind of thing too, because kind of like I think there's sort of a stereotype as a woman who's a gamer where you're expected to either, like, not be a gamer or be, like, amazing, like the best. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of like a weird unwritten.
It is.
That's like a weird unwritten stereotype.
It's like, oh yeah, if you're gonna play with the boys, you got to be better than all of them. It's like, well, can't I just be? Do I belong here even if I am just equal? Like,
I would say so.
Or not the best. Like, yeah, it is. It's a very strange sort of stereotype where it's like, yeah, you can be here if you really, really, really deserve to be here because you're just that good.
Right.
It's like you have to work twice as hard to, like, get into that arena for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know. It is kind of a stigma, like, around, like, competitive, like, scenes, especially, like, you get respect by being good. Mm-hmm. And it does carry around, like, a weird kind of stigma, like, not just in card games, but just anything competitive in general.
Yeah.
Like, not just in gaming, but in also, like, all manner of competition.
Yeah.
So there is definitely that. Like, I know I was kind of like one of the weird ones because I always played outside of, like, the meta kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I do want to share this. This is a picture of the style of deck that I made for Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 2012 when I started winning a lot of shop tournaments.
Aww.
So for those of our listeners that knows the archetype or series of cards known as Ma Dolce, they basically combine desserts with names of desserts with names of royalty. So, like, one of the boss monsters is basically like a French princess, and they mix the name up with pudding, so her name is Ma Dolce Puddingcess.
Okay.
And then you have another higher up of royalty on that, where she's the queen, but she's also queen of Tiramisu, and she has a tiara, so her little name is Madolche Queen Tiramisu. It's just weird names like that.
Oh, gosh.
And then they have all these like weird, extravagant like pets as animals. Like you have a owl on top of a stack of pancakes, so its name is Madolche Hoot Cake.
This is weirder than I imagined.
Welcome to my world. welcome to my adolescent world.
We should put that. We should put that on a. Should put that on some merch. This is weirder than I imagined. On the back. Welcome to my world.
That'll be one of our shirts one of these days.
Yep. I'm going to do some art for like a sticker you can put on your laptop or something that says "A moment of silence for headphone users." I think that's one of our better recurring gags.
That is true. That is very true.
This is weirder than I imagined.
Welcome to my world.
Oh man, yeah. I should write that down actually, or I'll forget it.
Oh, absolutely. Take the moment to write it down.
I will. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what else do you have to say about this topic? I said what I set out to say.
I mean, trading card games are always like so much fun for me. Like, for me, it established a very early identity for me. Like growing up, like I was always like a little bit. I always loved watching like cartoons and anime stuff like that. But like I didn't have like a hobby outside of that and playing video games where I could socialize as a young person. But then when I started playing the card games, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, like I started interacting with a lot more people, just going to like these events and tournaments and things like that. Especially like during middle school and high school, where I was at a very rough point in my life, because those years are always rough on young people.
Yeah,
and being able to find others that shared the same interests as me.
Yeah.
Was so much fun. And even though like some people have like dropped on and off and like that, and I still retain those kinds of connections, it was a lot of fun. There are still some of those people that I am friends with today. We were like brothers, sisters, things like that, almost like that.
Yeah. People say that like, oh yeah, if you're doing all of that kind of nerdy stuff, like you don't learn how to socialize at all, and it's like
untrue.
Yeah, it's absolutely untrue. It's just like, okay, yeah, I maybe don't learn to socialize with like the kind of people that you socialize with, but I do socialize like that. Yeah, playing these games and stuff. It just it gets you. It kind of gets you out of your shell a little bit, and you meet people who are like yourself, and then I feel like it kind of, especially for like young people who they like all these sort of like nerdy things and everything. It's really a sort of testament to not being alone, I guess.
Yeah,
you know? And like figuring out, oh wait a minute, I'm not a freak.
Especially for like us growing up in the time period that we grown up, because people were so adamant against like and most of our age groups adamant against all that geeky stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, if you're doing that, like you don't socialize everything, you're not normal. That is just like such a bad stigma that is like followed through like all forms of like geek culture like throughout its existence, and it honestly makes me sick.
Yep.
Like, that is, like, the biggest stigma against, like, geek culture, was, like, things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
total BS.
Like, if stuff like card games and everything like that exist where we interact with other people, even for, like, these small moments of time, we may not spend as much time with them as we do with other people that we might interact with, but we're still making like that small connection, that bond. So, kind of similar to how random people will bond over like sports or other different kinds of like movies
exactly.
and media and things like that. And those same people will want to come around and say like, you're not socializing? Are you kidding me?
It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not socializing the way that you do.
It's such a double standard to that argument.
Yeah.
That it honestly makes me want to puke.
It's not so much. Yeah. It's not so much bashing like the fact whether somebody socializes or not, so much as how they socialize.
Exactly.
I guess. And in some ways, yeah, like you learn a lot of the same sort of stuff that you learn from like if you're on a sports team or whatever, it's like, just learning how to win with grace, learning how to lose with grace, learning how to work with other people, learning how to work by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah.
and the weird thing is like with weird stigmas like that, people will always outside of like that circle, they'll always point to like one bad apple in the bunch that is like, oh, this person cheated all the time with this and this and this, so all people in that must be cheated, or oh, this person did this illegal kind of thing. I'm not going to say anything like that because like still trying to keep this somewhat PG.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so all people like that are sick, disgusting people that prey on all this. I'm like, no. It's I don't understand why that in any kind of like community that is geeky or anything like that, if one kind of like error pops up, then automatically the entire community carries that negative stigma when none of them are involved with that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of different groups.
Exactly.
Like you can say that about sports. You can say that about, like, Hollywood.
You can kind of say less about that in sports and Hollywood because all of them are mainstream and people are easier to deny it.
Oh, right. I guess so, yeah.
That's the kind of thing I have to say in that regards. So people are like, oh yeah, that, and everything like that, but they'll ignore, like, the 900 other, like, things that go on in that society. Yeah. But one bad thing comes up in a community that is, like, card games...
That's already kind of like on the edge.
Yeah, that is on an outcast like standard, and you
correct society.
Right, and then you mention one bad egg among that, and then all of a sudden, the community itself is more ostracized as it is, and they get all this like negative light when that should not be true, because not everyone is like that one bad apple.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And that is always something that has bothered me in so many things like that we love, like, and that we have talked about here on General Geekery. This is actually not something that I brought up, but it's with TCG, it's with trading card games especially that have gotten such bad reps in history because of like people that have cheated, people that have scammed others, people that have done horrible things of humanity that they honestly should be shunned, but does not represent the entirety of a single community. Yeah. Especially not like the smaller communities within the larger community itself.
Yeah. Like a globalization of...
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's why I'm so passionate about like to defend all of that, because... You can say what you want about, like, all your sports and everything like that. If you want to defend all of that bad stuff because of, like, good stuff, then I will do the same with the community and the stuff that I support as well. Yeah. Just because you protect something that is considered more popular, mainstream, accepted by the general society as possible, and I'm from something that's more... underground, not as well known, or not as accepted by the general public, then what gives you that right? Yeah. It is a double standard. Yep. And I didn't really want to get that passionate about it, but that's kind of how the conversation went. Yeah. So there is that.
Interesting.
Because with trading card games, like I said, it's made up a good portion of my early childhood and my early adult life. Yeah. And I owe a lot to that time that I spent going to shops, going to tournaments, and just interacting with so many people. Have there been bad times? Yes, but there's been more good times than bad. So I owe a lot to that. And if people want to start picking up a card game and like interact with like their own little community with friends, or even start up things with their own friends, go for it. It's a lot of fun. And in the end, don't we just want to have fun just playing games with people that we love being around?
I know that girls just want to have fun.
All right, Kerm. Okay, you got me with that.
Gotta bring you back down to earth.
Thank you. Because I went a little bit too. Thank you. So I'm done. I'm done with my soapbox moment. I'm done. But yeah, like trading card. I mean, trading card games have had a long history of both good and bad stuff. There have been some great highs, but also some of the lowest of lows. But you can pretty much say that about any kind of medium.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
But as a hobby, it's probably like one of the most popular hobbies that there is like out there. I think honestly, card games are a bigger hobby for more people than Dungeons and Dragons.
Probably, actually.
Although D&D has had a major resurgence up in the past decade.
Yeah.
But both card games and tabletop RPGs have one singular thing in common, and that is bringing people together to play games, build a community, and just have fun.
Yep.
And I think that's really what should be the importance of any kind of community-based kind of gameplay.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, well, it may not be what you might call cool, but it's still a community.
It's cool. It's cool to us.
And it's cool to us.
I will rock that Blue Eyes White Dragon every single day. Damn it!
Every single day.
Every day.
Every day. Damn it!
I think that's pretty much gonna top that off.
I think so too.
All right. Thank you guys.
What a ride.
Sorry if I scared some of you listeners with my little soapbox moment, but
you didn't scare me, so
all right. That's good. As long as I didn't scare you, Hannah, then I think I should be all right for the viewers. So, but I still want to apologize. Sorry about that, viewers. I did get a little hot in that moment.
What are these viewers you're talking about? This is a podcast.
Viewers, listeners. I'm sorry. Anytime.
I'm just taking the Mickey like anything today.
Anytime we record, I feel like I'm constantly in like just Twitch mode.
Right. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I feel like people are watching. But
that's something you got to deal with on your own time, Donald.
That's very true. That is very true.
I feel like people are watching.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Thank you, Michael. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the General Geekery Podcast, all about trading card games and trading card game communities in general. If you guys like what you've been listening to, make sure to give us a follow wherever we're found. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and you can even check us out on my personal YouTube channel at Anime Rev Productions if you don't have access to any of those streaming services. That is Anime Rev Productions on YouTube to check out all of the episodes of the General Geekery Podcast and some other stuff as well. If you guys want to follow us on social media, we are at General Geekery on Instagram and at Gen Geek Podcast on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to support the podcast as well and support us continue to do what we love doing and possibly more projects in the future, you can pledge to our Patreon at patreon.com/General Geekery. That is patreon.com/General Geekery. Also, this should be, I think this episode should be coming out before or after that. Should we announce the Inepticon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
This should be coming out before that happens. But Saturday, February 27th. So yeah, actually the day after this episode goes on.
Oh.
You guys can check out our very first episode recording of Inepticon over on twitch.tv/RyuzakiMK7, my personal Twitch channel, where we'll be having Hannah play through some games.
Ooh.
Can't wait!
So excited!
I have a good one in mind for the first one.
Yes.
I have a classic in mind.
Don't tell me.
I will not. But definitely go check that out. That is one of the projects that we are getting started with the Patreon page, so definitely go check that out. Hannah, where can they check you out at?
Well, you can find me rolling dice with my party every Monday at 7:30 Central on twitch.tv/loadeddiceadventures. It's a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I'm part of, where we are traveling through the homebrewed world of Avenaria. I play Petra, the Dragonborn Ranger Rogue, and it's a fun time. You can also catch me on SPLANCHNIC, the podcast I do with my mom, where we discuss all sorts of geeky things from the perspective of two different generations. And if you feel so inclined, you can follow me on Instagram at PythianLegume.
I still need to catch the most recent episode where you guys went through your 21 movies.
Right, yes. That's actually a two-parter because it took us so long to talk about them all. Because our 21 favorite movies is each of us talking about 21 movies. So that's 42 movies.
Ay, caramba. You know what? That should honestly be a Patreon goal, is that we release, like, our own tier lists of stuff.
Yeah, not top 21 though. That's a lot.
That's all. We'll condense it more. We'll condense it more for that.
Okay, top 2.
Indeed.
No, I didn't.
Maybe not. Okay. Maybe top 10. Maybe top 10.
Top 10. Okay.
And as for me, guys, you guys can check me out at Ryuzaki MK7 on Twitch and Instagram, and as I mentioned before, on Twitch.tv Ryuzaki MK7. Where I do a multitude of different games. Most of them are RPG based, but I always love interacting with my community, and we sometimes do community game nights. Just this month we did a Among Us night. Hannah was there.
Woo!
It was awesome. So definitely go check that out. It's always a lot of fun. This has been episode 69.
Nice.
Dang it. Oh, caramba. I was wondering if one of us was going to do that, but...
I was waiting the whole time. I was going to do something at the beginning, but you had something already, so I was like, oh, well, I'll just hold off on that one.
That's fair. So, anyway, this has been episode 69
Nice.
of the General Geekery Podcast, all about TCGs, trading card games, and the like. Until next time, guys, I'm Donald Kaczynski for Hannah Kubiak. Until next time, keep on keeping on, trade those cards, keep building communities, but always remember to keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink.
Clickety click, clink, clink, clink.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
So it's been a while since we've done a theme month, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, what should we do for March?
March.
Should it be something that begins with the letter M?
Murder. No.
No,
Okay.
no. That doesn't apply to the demographic.
Murder. Muffins. No, that's too vague.
Why are you making me hungry?
I don't know. I'm hungry. Melatonin.
Oh my. No.
Matchsticks.
No. If
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Moria.
Maury. We already did a Lord of the Rings one though.
We did.
Man. If only.
Man.
If only.
Mankind. March.
No.
Murder.
I mean, worst comes to worst, we could always just talk about the hottest thing on Disney Plus right now. Wait.
Mandalorian.
No.
We did that already.
We did that already, yeah. Yeah, isn't like WandaVision going on right now?
Yeah, it's on my queue.
Yeah. Wait.
Are
you thinking what I'm thinking?
Mayhem. No. Marvel.
That's it!
Ha! Clink, clink!
Yes! Oh, I'm glad we got that going.
Do it. What's up?
We left the mic rolling.
Oh. Well.
So yeah, we're doing Marvel March, guys. See you next time for that. Oh man, we should have kept that a surprise.
Should have.